If I'm not mistaken, this movie has apparently crossed like $1 billion either yesterday, if not today, and is continuously surpassing $1 billion. So that's really good for them. But getting into the review, The Fate of the Furious. So originally, I wanted to do this review back when the movie came out last month, but then school and exams got in the way and all this other stuff. So I'm doing it now, and fret not, I will be doing a review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 on Thursday. So look out for that. But let's talk some Fast and the Furious. So The Fate and the Furious is the 8th movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise. Yes, they have made as many movies as Star Wars at this point. That's how ridiculous this franchise has. And many people think that it should have stopped by now, but personally, I think it should have stopped at 5. I didn't see why they couldn't have stopped it at 5. Maybe if they probably should have stopped it at 7, if we're to be honest. But they keep on going, and according to Vin Diesel, they're making 2 more movies, and they're just squeezing money. But it makes money, so who's to complain? But getting into the movie, so Dom has gone rogue for some apparent reason that no one really knows why, and the whole movie you're just basically just trying to figure out, okay, why is Dom gone bad? Why is he gone bad? Why is he gone bad? Why do I care at this point? Because this is the only reason I went to go see this movie, just to figure out why Dom's gone bad. You can pretty much throw the whole rest of the movie out of here. The only interesting part that you're in this movie for is just how Dom goes bad, and that's basically it. I mean, because you can't bring physics into this movie at all. I mean, once you see, like, submarines coming out of the water in Russia, you see these parachuter dudes jumping onto a plane or whatever, and all this other cars coming out of buildings and everything. You have to throw logic out of this movie. It's just impossible. In fact, you probably should have thrown logic out of this movie probably since maybe Fast and Furious is when I would have probably thrown logic out of these movies. Maybe before I would have kept logic in, but after that, I just throw logic out. That's when logic gets me, especially in Fast Five when they're jumping over a freaking lake and they have to jump off a car and like land in a lake safely, even though it'd just be like splat, you'd be dead. But whatever. But yeah, Dom is bad, and the team has to go up against him. And what I find interesting is basically who's fulfilling the Paul Walker role. Now, we all know last Fast and Furious movie, Paul Walker died. It was very sad. And, you kind of feel like there's a big hole missing in this movie because you're just like, okay, now, no one wants to do it, but someone is going to step up and try to fulfill that role. Unintentionally, but they're going to try and fulfill the role. And it kind of seems to me, at least the way I'm standing, that The Rock is kind of trying to fulfill the role, and you have Letty trying to fulfill the role. But I mean, you just can't replace Paul Walker, and it's like a loss of dynamic, without having him in these movies anymore. You don't have that opposing force that Dom needs and everything. But you find out the whole reason that he's turned to the dark side, I guess, is because, apparently him and Elena, who were together back in 6 or whatever, back when he thought Letty disappeared, had sex or whatever. Meanwhile, she just tells him, hey, by the way, yeah, you remember back in 6 when we had sex because we thought that your girlfriend was dead, then we found her alive and everything. Oh yeah, by the way, that came with consequences because boom, we have a child. And it's kind of like they gave it away within the first couple minutes of the movie because Letty's talking about, hey, you know what, we should have a child, we should make a family, kind of like what Brian and Mia did, la da 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 da, and then boom, he has a son. Oh, isn't that convenient? Yeah, well, here's the thing. One day that kid is going to ask, oh, mom, dad, or not mom, and real dad, what happened to mom? Oh, yeah, son, she was killed on a plane while I was being blackmailed into working for an evil cyber terrorist. Yeah, I can't imagine that talk going well. But all in all, the movie was pretty good. I mean, it doesn't really line up with my personal favorite Fast and the Furious movie, which as it stands is still Fast and the Furious number 5, or Fast 5. or Furious 5. I forget. That still remains my favorite. And I know a lot of people show a lot of love for 7, and 7 is it's a really good bookend for Paul Walker's character Brian, but I mean, should have ended after that. I mean, you can't do this series without him. But, they insist on doing it, so we keep on moving. So is it a worth seeing? I would definitely say so. I don't want to put the movie down. It had some funny moments. It had some awkward moments. It had some not physically possible moments, but it had a lot of surprise moments also. I mean, a lot of just like, hey, look at this from another movie. Hey, look at this from another movie. Hey, look at this. You remember this guy, even though he shouldn't be alive, because that's again throwing logic out there. Because at this point, they're all just like cartoon characters. They can get hit, they can get thrown from things, but they come back in a movie with like limited bruises, but they survive somehow. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Maybe they should bring Han back that way. But no, I guess Han doesn't come back from that. Okay. Wait. Though there may be a movie when Han comes back. You keep watching. But is Fate and the Furious worth watching? I say I would give it about a 8.5 out of 10. It did what it was meant out to do, and it did surprise me and everything. And I kind of look forward to what they're going to do next. I don't know. It's like they kind of dig themselves in a rut here because they're just like, okay, well, Dom has become evil. Now, is the team going to turn against him? I mean, I have like an idea where they get like all the old Fast and the Furious villains together and they work with Cypher and then they get them to take down Dom's team. That's the only thing that I can see them doing at this point. Even though there's like very few villains that they've kept around, and then the villains that they do have joined up with them because you got the Shaw brothers that are on their side now, I guess for some apparent reason. So you got Cypher, I guess Braga, Verone from number 2, and you can't do the Japanese guys from 1 because they're dead. One dude from 5 is dead. Shaw's on their side. Shaw's on their side. Yeah, there's not really a huge list of villains to pull from unless they throw in like some interesting twist, like Bradley Cooper's the villain or something. But I mean, it seems like they're going to use the Charlize Theron character again, so expect to see her in more movies. But let me know what you guys thought of The Fate and the Furious. What's your favorite Fast and the Furious movie? And if this franchise needs to die, then let a rip on the comments section because I would love to know how much you dislike or don't like this franchise. Personally, it's something I grew up on. I'm used to it. It's a guilty pleasure, I would say, but they should have stopped at 7, and if to be honest, they probably should have stopped at 5. But for story issues with Tokyo Drift and all that, they had to continue it, so I can forgive them on that. But 7 or 5, they should have just killed it. It just needs to stop now, because at this point, I don't know what they can do next. But let me know what you guys thought, and I will see you guys on Thursday for Guardians of the Galaxy. Adios.